I'm trying to wait to see if I can get you guys in on the guest list or the host list. Okay, so Fletcher, you're good. So let's try to get you in here.
Hello.
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 Hello. Okay, Domino's not available yet. Cadence, I don't think you're available yet. I'm trying to get you in as you come off your Albanios.
I think the only reason why I was able to join is because I switched my account.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got multiple ones too, but most likely what that is like you're trying to get people to come in to have an education discussion, but instead what they're doing is they're reporting it for stuff, which is par for the course.
That's kind of what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, I went ahead and I posted it in a couple of the the clueless pet owner group and one of the other ones. I'm like, okay, you want to discuss? Fine, let's have a discussion. So I guarantee you that it just went straight to HRS, one of their stupid PETA message boards, and I just got flagged because that's what they do. They don't want to play nice. Never want to play nice.
Oh, goodness gracious. I guess that's part of it, though.
No, it is, and we kind of figured that's what was going to happen. Is they don't want to play nice. Okay, now I think you guys can. Let's get you in here. I don't have a lot of time though. I really do. It's going for 4 o'clock, and I really do need to get out there and start dumping trays. But I can leave you. I can leave it open, but I 54%. So we'll see how this goes.
Woo! We're back! Yay!
Oh, who knows for how long?
Are you able to put up the new background?
No, well, that's one of the things I'm gonna leave it alone in case they're gonna report the background.
Yeah. Well, I put up a new one where it's literally just a photo of a rabbit.
I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not as. This honestly would be best if we could schedule it so it's on the desktop, because if it's on the desktop, there's a few things I can do, I think, to prevent them from being stupid. So.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's just without some sort of background, it's not really a debate. It's just a regular live.
Yeah, I'm fixing to be. I'm trying to do my words kindly here. I am going to be making dog food from well-loved rabbit. Oh, Cadence wants up. There we go.
I'm trying. Hold on. Yay. We're working on it. I don't like using this phone for lives because it's really, really slow. And it has so many issues. I think it already says she's up, so.
Yeah, she's up now.
I'm up.
Okay, so. Alright, we're gonna leave the rest of those spots open for if someone actually wants to, have a discussion.
But yeah.
What were we talking about before that?
I don't even remember.
Oh, we were talking about the different gauges of. It's going to cut out a little bit because the phone that is being used is not. Foods they shouldn't have. Oh yeah. Any of the sulfurous vegetables.
And that's when I kind of mentioned about the marigolds. But
Yeah.
as for like foods that I give them, I do dandelions sometimes, and then for my pet rabbits, I give them like the smallest sliver of carrot every now and again.
So my pet buck absolutely loves tomato, but that's like half a cherry tomato, maybe once a month, if that. It's just like the tiniest little bit.
With your veggies and stuff, you're okay if you have a pet rabbit. You're okay if you do less than a total serving of vegetables, including lettuce and anything else. If you're keeping that portion size under the size of a deck of playing cards, and you're only doing it once a week at most.
Mhm.
Be careful with the pine needles. The auric oil that's in the pine needles can be an issue sometimes. It's an irritant.
I think it's more like we aren't saying that rabbits cannot absolutely never have vegetables or anything like that. It's more the people who give them salad, like a dinner
Dog bowl.
plate.
It's a dosing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dosing thing. Everything in moderation. Like right now, we were even talking to Grubs about blueberries and raspberries and a few other things that are beneficial, used in conjunction for herbal medicines and toning for the rabbits to help keep them healthy. But again, it's in specific moderation what they get and the types of feed they get. Lettuces and salads and a lot of gassy vegetables will hurt them, and in the long run starve them of nutrition because there's not enough nutrients to sustain them if that's the bulk of the diet.
Yeah, so like when you're going on Instagram and you're seeing these, these pages that have these rabbits and they're sitting in front of dog bowls full of veggies, and they're doing it, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. All those veggies that they're consuming is empty calories. It's just carbohydrates, and water basically, and you're taking up room for actual nutrition. So you're unbalancing the diet by overloading them with basically junk food.
And that's why, like, going back to that conversation with Queen Creole, one of the things I pointed out is your rabbits are malnourished and they're and fat, and they don't seem to understand the difference between skinny and malnourished. None of my rabbits are malnourished. No, you're right. None of your rabbits are no, your rabbits are malnourished, but they're fat. That's why they're not skinny. They're fat. That's the problem. And that malnourishment comes from the body not getting the correct nutrients and then becoming flabby and out of shape because it doesn't have enough protein to build muscle to balance it out.
And that's a problem that's seen in humans as well in food deserts. You have, like only a gas station is close enough for you to get food at, and all that junky gas station food over time, you end up with a nutritional deficiency because you don't have access to proper nutrition. So you're gaining weight, but you're not actually healthy.
Yeah.
And like what Savannah said, I see a lot of people that are like, oh, well, how would you feel if you couldn't have like a bunch of variety in your food or something? But it would honestly be so helpful for so many people if there was like a complete food for humans. Or something
if I could have
ADHDs, I will eat the same 4 meals over and over on a weekly basis.
The safe foods is definitely a thing for me. I have a safe food list.
Like if I could have something that I know will always taste exactly the same and like be healthy, I would not be complaining.
Exactly. It's definitely not.
That's the proper rabbit nutrition.
Well, the best, you want to know what's funny, is I got pancreatitis back in my 20s. And I was on total TPN, so I was being fed via IV. I was the healthiest I had ever been in my life because I was getting total nutrition.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've seen that, and I've just been like, really wish I could just do that. Because I also just, personally, I do not enjoy the act of eating. Unless it's like fun foods out of boredom. But like, I do not enjoy eating.
Yeah, well, because of your conditions and stuff, you do have a lot of, I dare to say it. But
well, for me, it's honestly, it's not to do with my gastroparesis. It's honestly due to, I think I have ARFID.
Okay.
I am like pretty sure I have ARFID because I have always been such an extreme picky eater. And I take forever to eat, and I have to be watching something while I eat because I am not enjoying myself. And when I did online school for 4 years, I skipped lunch so many times because I would rather do homework.
Mary and I have come to the conclusion that rabbits are probably on the spectrum. Yeah, very much so. Because the way that they act and what they do, their routines, their food preferences, things like everything lines up with that neurodivergent type of thinking.
I think I watched the video that you posted over that, Mary.
Like we're not comparing humans to animals, but at the same time, we're not comparing humans to animals, but there's a lot of similarity.
Yeah.
A lot of behavioral similarity, but that goes back to
I feel like we can sort of compare like thought process, but you can't compare care.
Correct.
There's someone in here. Are you over 18? Do you want to come up and join? I don't know, 220. Want to come up here and join? Come up here and join.
I put my scissors down somewhere, and I have no idea where I put them.
You
Barn
cannot
scissors go
tell
to the same dimension
if
that
they are
socks
happy
do.
just by no. They are not happy in a room and with vegetables. Vegetables, it is not a balanced diet. They are not getting enough protein. They are not getting enough.
I mean, you might be happy.
Are you 18 or over?
That's just it.
For TikTok verification purposes, are you over 18?
What is your
basis? 2005.
So what is your basis for presuming that the rabbits are happy? What behaviors are they doing?
Well, I'm not here to say what you're doing's wrong. I'm not saying that at all. Like, I agree with what you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
this is
rabbits.
for a civil discussion.
I have 4. One's 9, one's 6, and then 2 are both 3. They have a whole room to themselves where they run about, jumping, flopping over. They'll eat their vegetables. The vet says they're completely healthy. They're all healthy weights, and I've never had an issue with it.
I've had hundreds that live past 10 years of age that have been in cages on a full pellet diet. Binky, Zoomy, run, play, do all of that as well.
I don't understand how they're able to run and play though if they're kept in a small space.
The spaces is not the definition of a small space. You got to think here in the U.S., our cages start at 4 square feet and go up from there.
And for comparison, wild rabbits spend 23 hours a day in roughly 1 square foot of space. Only going out to eat.
Yeah, they live in
because
burrows.
that is what is natural for them. That is what is normal for them. They are accustomed to smaller spaces, and we have studies measuring their cortisol levels in caging systems versus a park system, and the park system, their cortisol levels are significantly higher.
They're constantly stressed.
I was going to say, there's nothing inherent
in their blood because they're using up calories to fight off the fight or flight response.
I mean, that's fair, but
there's nothing inherently abusive about having like a free roam setup.
Yeah. What for my ideal for a pet would be that there is a wire bottom cage offered in about like a room of space, but still keeping them singularly because
They have a wire butter litter box, but they all four of them live together quite happily.
okay. So
The wire bottom litter
wire
box is
wire
good,
or like a plastic
giving them the
flat?
option.
They only go on it to go to the toilet, and that's where they'll eat
Okay.
their hay. They won't sit on that until the toilet. They prefer to lie up on the harder flooring of the carpet.
Okay.
So the problem with the hard flooring, if you go back and look at my
Thanos
videos,
will let you up when this person's done talking.
yeah.
We'll
So if
do
you
one
go
person
look
at a
back
time.
my videos, I have the background of the house rabbit that was on hard floors and carpet her whole life. She eventually ended up getting sore hops on the carpet that I've now healed in the cage. Her health, she stopped her epilepsy. Her seizures are under control because she is calmer and happier in a cage environment versus being out in the open. So her cortisol levels came down, her seizures stopped, her feet healed, and she's now 5 years old and the healthiest she's ever been in her life because she got switched from the standard house rabbit setup to the cage setup.
None of mine, I'm obviously not saying what you're doing is wrong, but none of mine have ever had any hawk problems, any blistering. They have the full foot coverage of their feet. They have nothing wrong with it at all. And they
I
never
think that
have.
is partially offering them the wire bottom litter box.
Yeah.
Because they're not sitting on like their poop and their pee. Because a big part of sore hocks in pet rabbits is the moisture buildup.
Yeah,
And not
Yeah, I have read
like
on that.
ventilation.
That's why we have the wire litter box.
The problem is
Also
if you were to
germs,
go
yes.
into one of the pet rabbit groups, they will jump down your throat if you have a wire bottom litter box.
I
happen.
admit that as well. There's hundreds of things they don't agree with, and there's 100 of things that I don't believe with them. Like flipping your rabbits on their back to cut their nails will put them in this trance.
So
and it will
that's
freeze
actually
them and
that's
kill
actually
them.
false. So
yeah.
No, I know it's false. I was
Studies,
just saying I don't agree with
oh, gotcha. But I'll just sort of explain for anybody else in here. The main reason of why that myth exists is because it originates from a study that did happen, but people forget one key characteristic that they were doing to the rabbits, and that it was that they were slamming the rabbits onto their backs into metal troughs. That is what will put them into shock. Simply just gently flipping them over will not.
And the whole purpose of the study was tonic immobility, which is a fear-based response. And the way that they got the rabbits to do a fear-based was literally ramming them down repeatedly in order to keep them into such a state where they couldn't. So rolling a rabbit does not hurt it. Slamming the shit out of it does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so people don't understand. Yeah, people don't understand that original study was terribly, terribly flawed. And
I do obviously agree with loads of what you are saying. There's just different ways of how you've been educated. In my ways, I do like to provide them a big enough space as I keep multiple together. There has been no fights, and I've had a pair for over 5 years, and I've had a group of 4 for 2 years now, and there's not been one fight ever since I've put them together.
So
no, but the thing is, though, is with fights with rabbits, okay? It's not as dramatic as people think. 99% of rabbit fights is just standoffs, where they're looking at each other a certain way, and people are not going to catch that behavior on most instances. I have physically had to sew up rabbits that are like 9 years old and have turned on each other because one too many of these signals got mixed or missed. So I think there needs to be a major overhaul on what people think about rabbit behavior and what certain rabbit behavior means, because there's a lot of disconnect there. A lot of people don't understand the dominance play that happens with rabbits. If if you go back and read Arden Walkley's The Secret Life of the Rabbit, he lived with a rabbit colony for 5 years.
I think it's The Private Life, not Secret.
No, Private Life of the Rabbit, yes. It was actually, that behavior was actually the basis for Watership Down. So the fights and everything that you're seeing in Watership Down were almost taken verbatim from the behavior that was seen by Lockley in the wild.
Yeah, I will agree with that as well. I've not had any fights personally. The reason why we do have 4 is the first one we had was a group of 3, and 2 of them passed away. Another one became extremely, extremely lonely. It didn't really move out of a corner for quite a while. That's how we've now ended up with more, and it's kind of come out its shell with a bit. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I know it can be true with different rabbits.
That's another typical misconception. Usually what people think of as loneliness is more them just being calmer and relieved a lot of the time. Is that like, oh, they're no longer having to fight for food. They're no longer having to share their space and fight for their territory. Even if it's not like the literal fighting, it's like just that standoff, that like communication that we don't typically think.
They're misconstruing contentedness with loneliness. So they're with a rabbit, once a rabbit is safe and happy in their environment, they go quiet. They aren't running around constantly. They aren't having to show that I'm healthy and I'm alive and I'm doing all this stuff. They don't have to do that because they're full and happy, content, and quiet. And so they will sit, and that is what they do. A rabbit that is hit its peak contentedness is calm and quiet and reserved.
I mean, I can get that as well. I mean, mine do seem okay. I know there can be the standoffs, but they do lie and huddle together. I've never personally had any injuries off them. If there was, I would split them up and put them into their own spaces.
Do they thump at all a lot? How often do they thump?
They rarely ever. I've never heard a thump unless one time a dog has walked by the room and there's been a thump because the dog's walked by. Other than that, I rarely hear thumping. There's never been any.
With your rabbits, when you're saying they're lying and laying on each other, do you particularly have one that likes to lay on top of the other?
They don't really lay on top. It's more of beside, like flopped, kind of leaning against each other, the pair of them. Both of them will...
There's one that's usually with its head over the other, or near or higher than the other.
It can switch up who's like grooming the other one. It's not always the same one. They kind of swap now and then.
And how many did you have, you said?
I have 4 right now. I have 4. I don't plan to get any more.
Okay, so with the 4, you said that they switch up. Is it 2 particular ones?
It depends. It's my 2 younger girls. I have 1 neutered buck and I have 2 of the girls. 3 girls, sorry. 1 older girl, 2 younger girls.
So the younger girls have taken
Siblings
over
don't matter, Michael.
Yeah. So those are going to be your more dominant rabbits.
Yes, they will. They kind of stick to themselves. They'll all cuddle together, but they don't have any moments. They just sometimes
they're a dominant set. Okay, so they're a dominant set of does. So that dominant set of does, they are the ones giving the signals to everybody else. If something happens to the dominant does, then the whole thing collapses. So you have to be particularly careful with those dominant does areas like that. That's where some issues can happen. Is like if one of them got sick, God forbid. If one of them got sick or something, it's going to cause chaos in the group because they're looking for the signals from those 2 females.
You see a lot of people that they'll have a group of rabbits that do really well together, but it's the smallest shifts in the hierarchy, like one going to the vet and then smelling different, or if one passes away, and the shift in that hierarchy is normally when a lot of fighting and bickering starts, and then it can all just go downhill from there.
Yeah. Because no matter what, it's just a simple fact that rabbits function off of a fear-based hierarchy. You can get that hierarchy to work so that typically on a day-to-day basis they're mostly content, or they're not like in threat of unaliving each other. But it's still, like Kaden said, that littlest bit of change can change that in an instant, where it can just alter in, like, it can work, but it's very risky.
We do.
So it really comes
watch
down
out
to
for them. But yeah, I agree with a lot of it. I wasn't coming on here to hate or disagree with what you've had to say at all.
It's his first civil debate.
Coming up and sharing your perspectives as you know, as a pet owner and stuff like that. We enjoy, you know, people who are civil with this.
I wouldn't hate, because I have we have had meat rabbits before. We had bought 3 meat rabbits, and they weren't really to breed; they were just to raise. And my dad dealt with like the butchering and the processing and all that of them 3. But the breeds that we have as pets are the smaller breeds. They only get to about 2.5 kilograms. They're not like.
What's
I have a funny
that
story.
conversion?
I actually won a meat class with a Netherland dwarf once.
It's not like 5 pounds.
I don't have an Netherland dwarf. We have an Netherland dwarf cross.
Okay. Yeah, I have mini Rex personally, so I don't do meat yet. I want to. It's mainly just my mom is not interested in doing meat, and I still live with her, and so
I
I'm
have
not in a position to do that
in
yet.
our barn.
But,
In our barn, we have a mix of New Zealand's, which are a meat breed, and then I also have my Jersey Woolies, which are a pet breed. And then my mom breeds Britannia Petite, which are a little bit of an odd one because they are small, but they are purely like an exhibition breed. They're 100% not pets.
yeah, they're
I wouldn't keep the meat rabbits as pets. I wouldn't keep any of the larger, bigger breeds of anything.
So in the UK, Scotland, and stuff like that, what we call Britannia Petites are what's called Polish over there.
Those are
Yeah,
Polish.
those are your Polish.
Rabbits. We have
They're
the too many
a little
lots.
bit under a kilogram full grown.
Yeah, and your mini lops are more like our Holland lops, because our mini lops are like 6 pounds.
Yeah, our mini lops are quite small, and we also have our mini Rex cross lion head, and then we have an Netherland dwarf cross with I don't know the breed.
So yeah, I have the mini Rex is my breed.
But
just purely for show. But
I know many people that have butchered or processed the smaller breeds, and that's completely fine.
Yeah,
personally, I'm too attached to these ones to ever see that.
Because there's your pets. We have nothing against keeping them as pets. It's more we just want the care info to get out there.
I have 2 pets that are a meat breed, but they're just very different cases to where they have the temperament and the personality to be okay in a home setting, to where a typical New Zealand is just not going to be comfortable in that type of setup.
Yeah. Too, and again, back for diet, you technically can do what I would like to say is the equivalent of a raw diet for dogs, where you can sort of home make it. It's just hard. Just like balancing a raw diet for dogs is hard, it's still hard to do that. But there's a really good book called Beyond the Pellet that goes over it pretty well.
You gotta read the whole book.
Beyond the Pellet is a good book, but you do have to be careful for some of the chapters, because some of them do talk about feeding like table scraps and bread and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't give them that. The most
just like
it's hit and miss, yeah.
But it still has some good info. Because too, in the UK, the pellets out there are just trash. I
can't remember the brand name. I can't remember. I'll either comment it on a post one day and see if you know anything about it. But it's a brand off Amazon, and we order that in, and then they get hay and they get some vegetables every other day.
Your main thing with the pellets out there is the main 2 things that make them bad is that they're too low in protein and way too high in fiber. Because too, what happens with too much fiber is just this is what fiber does for all of us. Is it makes things move really quick through your system. And so when there's too much fiber, it's moving through their digestive tract too quickly, which then leads to nutrient inhibition.
Absorption.
Because the absorption, nutrient absorption inhibition, because it's not staying in their GI tract long enough for them to properly digest it.
So like it with the hay and stuff, if you have it free choice and you're only filling the hay feeder, a couple times a week, that's okay. But the problem is that, they're pushing these groups like RWAF, House Rabbit Society, stuff like that. They push for an 80% hay diet. And the problem with
it's too much.
Hay, it's too much fiber. So over 25% fiber, basically, it's like eating in the UK.
That is not true, Michael.
In the UK and Scotland and stuff, it's Weetabix. It's like eating 80% of Weetabix in one bite of a regular meal. And so, you eat that much fiber, you're going to do nothing but go, and nothing's going to stick,
So we do give them an abundance of hay as well, which I know you might not agree with, because the pellets here are absolutely rubbish. All the ingredients on them are horrific.
I think if you're using, I think if you're using,
are you using lucerne or grass hay?
I'm using meadow and Timothy hay.
I would use lucerne in the UK, so that way you're getting your higher protein requirement.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with offering hay if you're feeding veggies as like a supplement to a bad pellet. I think that hay is very important if you're feeding like veggies.
Just the other thing with veggies is the ones that you just want to absolutely avoid is any cruciferous vegetables. So that includes like kale, Brussels sprouts, spinach, cabbage. Because those have steroidogens, and those will cause thyroid issues. There's a lot more like broccolis in that, cauliflowers in that.
Problems and oxalic acid buildup, as well as bloat.
So far, we've never had any issues. The only time where we've had the start of GI stasis was when our buck got neutered. It was the day after he didn't want to eat, so he had to be a little bit syringe fed.
Anesthesia will do that.
Yeah, anesthesia does that.
Other than that, we've touched wood, obviously not had any issues with them. Hope that I don't, if there was fighting or something went wrong, I would obviously change how I done things, but this is what's worked for me for the past eight years now.
The other thing that I would ask regarding diet is, what is their coat like year round? How often are they shedding? Is it
I think it's twice a year for some.
Okay, so that's
twice a year.
Fairly good then.
That's good.
That's fairly good, because that's one of the main things you'll see with a rabbit that's not getting enough nutrients is that they're going to have like a dull, broken coat because they're not having all those nutrients that's building up their coat well, and so that's a good indicator.
Usually, some of them were shedding a couple months ago in December. Some of them then they'll start shedding when it gets to summery time. That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
That's a good baseline to watch, though. If you ever see them start molting out of season or just constantly having a broken coat, that's always one of your first clues that something is majorly wrong. Because every single rabbit builds that coat off of protein, and if they're not getting enough protein, then they're going to start shedding the coat because they can't support it nutritionally.
How is it you use for the meat rabbit? How is it you provide pellet for them? Do they just get an abundance of pellet, or do they have feeding times throughout the day?
They have feeding times, and they get a certain amount because they will eat too much, and then they will get fat because you probably know this since you did meat rabbits in the past that they're supposed to be a very lean meat.
Yeah, ours only got pellet. We didn't give them anything else other than a bit of hay when we did them.
Yeah. So with your even
Millet
with you can feed a full pellet diet as long as it's properly portioned, measured, and fed on a schedule. So, twice a day.
It's the same brand. Well, it's one of the same. It was a really good high quality pellet we got, and there was this other supplement one that I've seen many people use. I think it was Calfman or something. We'd ordered that in, and they got some of that.
Okay.
That's a supplement, not a straight feed.
Yes.
No, we
That's
don't.
That's a high power supplement, not a feed.
We would mix that in. We wouldn't give them that all at once. Though.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
we wouldn't.
you want to be a little careful with that one, just because just make sure that it stays like that little bit of supplement, because there is corn in it, and corn can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, like
Calfman is
blockages.
a very hot feed.
Yeah,
Actually, not really blockages. It causes fatty kidney disease.
Yeah, and fatty kidney disease. That's another one. The corn, what they'll call maize over there, is horrific in a rabbit diet. We try to avoid it at all possible costs.
So back to the
protein. We try to avoid corn, and we normally will have it start with lucerne or alfalfa as the base of the pellet.
Yeah, and if you for foods, this is going to be like a 10-year project, so it's not going to come anytime soon. But I'm a pre-vet student. Cadence is possibly going to go into livestock nutrition, and one of the projects we want to do with our careers in the future is to get a much better quality pellet out to you guys in Europe.
Yeah, all the ones here are rubbish. I will admit that. There's no good brands
So
in any.
It's a 10+ year thing, so it's not anytime soon, but it's something we want to work on.
And honestly, for your pet rabbits, if you ever do notice that very broken and molting coat, it won't hurt to have a little bit of calf manna on hand and just add a little bit of that as like a top dress on top of their food, just like to up the protein.
Teaspoon. Yeah, like a quarter teaspoon is all you need.
Or even just a little bit of alfalfa hay.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to explain the calcium thing? That misconception.
Okay, so there is a misconception about the calcium. What was originally thought was overloading them with calcium with the alfalfa. What happened was the pellets contain alfalfa. So basically, folks were doubling up the alfalfa, and it was causing calcium problems. But the other thing is that the conformation of the rabbit, and this is what Harcourt Brown found, was actually causing the urinary crystals and calculi that we're seeing in the bladder flood. It's because the rabbits are not properly structured, or they have spine injuries that nobody noticed, and so they aren't eliminating the bladders completely, and that is the cause of the urinary calculi. Is they have a physical malformation that is not allowing them to properly empty their bladders. Now, after they have that malformation, if they're being fed calcium-rich food, it can add to the problem, but it is not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is a physical deformity. Yeah, the cause of the problem is not culling hard enough. The pet breeders don't cull hard enough.
Breeding.
With poor conformation animals that end up with urinary problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the scientist Francis Harcourt Brown actually found this in her study.
And I've noticed pretty consistently in the US with pet rabbit pellets, a lot of them are very high calcium and don't have a proper amount of phosphorus to balance it out. So a lot of people will blame it on an alfalfa hay or like a legume hay, but it's really the actual pellet is just not properly balanced. So you want to aim for like a 2-to-1 calcium to phosphorus ratio.
Right. I just had one last question, and I'm gonna go. I've got to clean them and all that. In terms of I know you obviously have the cages, and as people say, it reduces the territorial reasons. Is that because it's such a smaller space, or is that just because?
Yeah. So the thing with that, because they're super territorial, them having that small space, they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to protect such a large space. I have this small space all to myself. Great.
And my food is here, my water is here, I'm comfortable. I don't have to argue with anybody. It is my little safe space. It is my little cave.
And our stack setups are similar to a wild burrow or warren, to where each rabbit, although they're close to each other and they can hear each other, they still each have their own territory that they don't have to protect from each other. And so they feel safe from the other rabbits, but they still have the security of being in a group.
Yeah.
Because in the case of a predator or something, they're much safer being in a group.
Yeah, like
and then
with my cages,
for perspective of that cortisol study I mentioned before. So in the study, the main one that I refer to, there were 3 systems: a niche open air system with a shed, which is that like park system, and a niche shed with conventional cages, and then more of an industrial system. In that order, this was the cortisol level readings from that, the average from that study. 11.91 for the niche open air, 2.86 for the conventional caging system in a shed, and 2.72. And those are all in nanograms per milliliters. So that goes from 11.91 down to like 3. Yeah. So like 12 down to like 3. So it's like a quarter of that level. So that's that perspective there of like it drops it significantly.
So with that wind is so bad. So with my cages, that my does can see each other, they can sniff each other through the wire, and I've never had an issue with it. But I do keep my bucks separate from my does, so the bucks they can technically see each other, but they can't. They're never housed next to each other.
I have my bucks on the bottom row because I have stacked cages. So my bucks are on the bottom. They can see and like they're next to each other, but they're not they're never next to a doe. Like they never share a cage line with a doe because that can just be a lot of unnecessary stress for the buck.
When you're raising them, how long do they stay together before you will split them up, or do they just stay together till you butcher or process them?
They're 8 weeks old.
I think that depends a lot on the breed.
They're with mom until they're 8 weeks old, and then after 8 weeks, we will split them up into bucks and does, and most times they go into group housing together. So all the
and then they're fully separated by like 12 weeks at the latest.
Yeah, because we can't have them together too long, otherwise they begin territorial fighting.
Yeah.
That also depends on breed, because our Britannia Petites are an exhibition breed, so they're bred to be extremely high-strung.
And aggressive.
So they tend to be much more aggressive. So we typically have to wean by around 6 weeks, and then they're separated out immediately just because they fight each other, and the dam will start fighting her kits, and it can get really ugly really quickly.
The Belgian hares are the same way.
For me, I'm planning on weaning at 8 weeks old. The does are going to stay in with mom for a little bit longer than the bucks. I'm going to separate the bucks, and then after everybody is weaned, the bucks and does will be kept in separate grow-out cages.
Yeah, we need to have them with mom for at least 8 weeks, so that way they have, their best baseline for rabbit behavior, and it just makes them much calmer and more well-adjusted rabbits.
Yeah. Although it does really depend sometimes. Like we had a litter 2 years ago now, I think. It was either 2023 or early 2024, where we actually didn't wean them till closer to 10 weeks because they were just super chill, and my mom didn't realize they were actually that old. So sometimes you get them where they are chiller for longer, but not always, because that, like, another litter out of that same doe this time around was, like, going after each other, and we had to, like, separate them a little early because they were pulling fur off each other.
Yeah,
do you
depends on the litter.
do you agree with breeding pet rabbits? I know obviously people have to get them from somewhere.
I don't. I think they should. Your reason for breeding should not be for pets. This honestly applies to pretty much all animals. Your soft coals should be pets. So I do personally sell pets. Part of that is that's my mom's decision. I still sort of want to do it in the future, but I want to be a lot stricter. And I have like a contract I wrote up to be able to use in the future. Still would need to go over it with a lawyer, but I have it. And so like it's pretty much it's just like they're gonna require that they're on pellets, little to no veggies, and I'm personally gonna require that they be housed separately. And for housing, I said they at least need the option of a wire bottom cage. I'm not going to say like, oh, you have to keep them in a wire bottom cage because I understand that people may not want that, but I'm like, there at least has to be that option, and at maximum, like a small room. Like you can maybe let them out of just the room for a couple hours at a time. Maybe that's something we discuss. But like at maximum, their home base is a small room.
Yeah, ours have they have the smallest room in the whole house. It's not massive. I don't know the exact dimensions, but they've got their wire bottom litter box in the corner, and the most they'll get put in their carrier and taken out to the garden for maybe an hour or two every so often to run about and go out there and eat some grass or whatever.
The main thing with that is just diseases, but that just depends on where you are and what's present in your area.
We have, it's quite a busy area, but all mine have actually had the RHD and myxomatosis vaccinations.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
And so with your house rabbits and stuff, you know, they have their own personal room. They probably have their own corners or spaces in that room where they retreat to, either together or singularly, so that way they can have a space to themselves. What I have seen is people that dedicate, you know, the whole house to the rabbit.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah, they wonder why the rabbit is so not panicked, but the rabbit is just running everywhere constantly, never still, never resting, never digesting their food.
I do agree with they should have their own space. They shouldn't. I don't agree with the whole house thing either. I think that's ridiculous. I think it should just be a room, or if it's up to them, a cage is fine. I just wouldn't want to keep, especially 4 in a smaller cage.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And that's just it. It's single housing when we have them in cages. So they might have, it might be a...
Other than litters, like litters or during when we're breeding. Yeah. That's the only time there's multiple in a cage.
Yeah, so there might be a 36 by 36 cage or a 30 by 36, you know, like 7.5, 9 square feet cage, but there's only one rabbit in there. Yeah, I think people misconstrue. You know, I have 40 rabbits and they think we're cramming them all into one cage, and that's just not how it works.
No, I agree. If cages is what you want to, like, obviously I'm not going to disagree with you. You obviously know a little bit more into you know obviously about the meat rabbits well more than I'll ever know. That's something I'm not really interested in. I'm more interested in the pet side of keeping. Personally, I couldn't kill a rabbit myself or anything because I wouldn't have the heart to do it, knowing how sweet they are towards me. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. When it comes to that type of thing, I'm like, that's fine. You do you. Just don't knock me for wanting to do it.
I wouldn't hate on any for that because my dog gets fed them as well. My dog gets he gets raw and they'll get dried rabbit ears, dried everything. So I wouldn't hate on someone because they are.
So you're not that person.
In the process of making dog food out of rabbit for my dogs.
Oh yeah, a lot of us do that. We make dog food. A lot of us are cooking it, at least a little right now, just because of bird flu. But we use our own rabbits towards our dogs.
Something that people also need to understand is that none of us enjoy butchering rabbits. Like, it's never something that you're excited to do or like want to do, and it can be upsetting sometimes. But it's also like you have to eat, and your animals have to eat. And you still, you're butchering the animal, but you're also using every part of it, and you're making sure that like it's
Or
being
two,
honored.
like a rabbit that looked really promising ends up not
Yeah,
making the cut, or like I have a
I'm not
buck
feeding into the
that
factory farming system.
yeah
by
yeah
doing
exactly.
it. I know
Factory
exactly
farming
what's
is a
going into my animals.
whole other
Yeah,
thing.
I know exactly what's going into my animals and what's going into me. So if I want the best product for me and my pets, I have to make sure that the animals that I raise are the best kept possible.
But that's just mainly all my questions. I don't really have any more. I wouldn't breed my rabbits myself. I've had a couple litters years and years ago, and they all found homes. Some of them were sold on to people that were going to butcher and process them. I just wouldn't do that. I couldn't do it myself, but I don't mind other people doing it. Is that's their food source and that's what they want to do. So I don't have anything against them for doing what they want.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's
perfectly fine.
are you gonna show Buddy? Here's your Buddy.
Oh, yeah, I can. Come here.
Is that one of the Sanitas?
Sorta. This is Wendy. She was born P, so that would have been, I think, M, and so 2022. So she's like going to be 3 years old this year.
So, see when your rabbits get older, do you use the like adults that you have been breeding? Do they get butchered as well, or do you keep them, or do they get?
It depends on
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on their behavior and whether they're suited to a retirement life. And most of the time, we make a point of trying to retire our girls to comfort and a good retirement. If they are
we personally, because I have more of a quote unquote pet breed, so they're typically usually very suited to just chilling. We kept our original trio that they've all now since passed. Harley, my very first rabbit, died in like December of 22, I think. Yeah. And then the other two, one passed in September last year, and the other in like November. That Harley we found dead. Guinness, we went and put her down, and she was starting to have trouble breathing. And Thumper, our buck, we put him down because my mom flipped him over to clip his nails, and he had a giant testicle. And so we're like, okay, yeah, it's your time to go. Because when we took him to the vet, because we're lucky enough that we have a emergency vet near us that does rabbits, and they're nice. They've been nice so far. They've been like very not judgmental, because that's one of our things with a lot of vets, is that they'll be like judgmental of us breeding
Or
and such. And they were just really chill, and they were like probably testicular torsion, and just because of his age, neutering wouldn't have been that great of an option. So we're like, yeah, let's just put him down.
So this is a magpie that's been on wire her entire life. White and furred rabbits and like magpies and ermine and Lucilla coat can have a little bit thinner foot padding on occasion. Like I said, she was born in I want to say 2021 or 22. And so this is going on 4 years on wire. We have absolutely pristine feet with no issues. So. If it's the proper gauge, it doesn't.
Yeah, and the housing, it depends, again, proper gauge of the wire, proper tension of the wire,
proper spacing
of the wire gaps, stuff like that. Once you get it down right, you should not have any problems having your rabbits in a wire setup.
yeah, when we got the meat rabbits a couple years back, they were on the wire bottom. That was the setup that was given to us, and none of them had issues either.
Yeah. This property. The issue is in the UK. The recommendation for their flooring is very different than what our recommendations
It's
are.
really wide in the
I
wire.
think the
Yeah,
dimensions
it's like
dimensions here for the pet rabbits is 3 meters by 2 meters, and then for meat rabbits, I think it's 30 by 24 by 30.
No, close.
I think that's like the spacing. We're talking about the spacing of the wire
If you
spokes,
go
like
to
the
the
spacing
UK farm
between each
law,
wire.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah.
one, like it's wee rectangles, and maybe like 1 by 1.5. I can't remember that, to be honest.
in the UK, the recommendation is 3 inches by half an inch. The recommendation over here is 1 inch by half an inch, which is it's
For the floor space.
yeah, by 16, 56 by 20 or 60. I can't. I have to have it before me to do the conversion, but that's what the equivalent is. And it ends up being that they don't have enough surface area.
That were the freedom units over here, so it's hard for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, with y'all's, with the farm rabbit laws, it came out to about a 24 by, if I remember correctly from the farm rabbit laws, it's 24 by 26 inches. 24 inches by 26 inches is what the farm rabbit laws on the government website said for standards. And so that is about the size of a Neverland dwarf cage. Huge.
No, they're actually, the problem is that their base cage size is about the equivalent to New Zealand sizes, but for doe and litter, but their base cage size does not change per breed with the AWA.
It doesn't change for breed, weight, or size.
Changes depending on the size, how many pounds of rabbits are in that cage. And so in the UK, some of those cages are too big for the breed because they can have too much space and freak out. And some of those cages are way undersized for something like a Conti or a Flemish because they're sized for something closer to like a 10-pound rabbit. So that's where the issue is because it's not nuanced the same way. We have a lot more nuance in the US for recommendations over here. So all mine, and then in Europe's worse. It's much worse in like France, Italy, and a lot of those countries because their base is 4 inches past the animal, which is the size of a carrier here. And so that's where a lot of these studies saying there's not enough room when they're using anytime they say conventional, yes, they're too small. And I 110% agree with that. Yes, they are too small because the conventional European cage that they're living in is the size of one of my kids.
It's not constructed
That's another main thing was like where people don't realize that there's like discrepancy in a lot of studies of like what the actual sizing is, and a study of one that actually is too small does not apply to our bigger cages and
I wish there was more visual representation in these studies so that way people could get a actual understanding of that size comparison. Because it's a huge comparison. Like, you know, I was explaining to a gal in I think she's in Ukraine or Czechoslovakia, I can't remember. But I was explaining our cage sizes and she goes, "Oh my gosh, that is like a size of a dog kennel." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh no, our rabbit cages are like," and then she gave me the measurements and it was like 10 inches by 12 inches.
Yeah, they're very wrongly housed over here.
Yeah.
They're very wrong. Some of them are cramped enough that they can't turn around fully in, which I don't agree with either.
That's the size of our carrying cages, and for some shows they may be in them for like overnight for like a day, but that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah, we never let them go longer than that.
And for a convention for the big show, they actually give us.
This is actually larger than the European conventional cage. This is 12 by 12. Their cutoff is actually 10 by 12, and this is 24 wide. So their cutoff is actually, I believe, about here. So that's
everyday cage.
And that's too small. That's too small.
In comparison, I don't know if I can get far enough out here. So that behind it's a 30 by 30. So this is a 30 by 30 by 18 tall. When you get into the more standardized, that's a 30-foot here, 30-inch by 30-inch. And they have significantly more room in that. This is closer to the standard size in the UK. Except I think your height is between here and here. So you're actually it's just a hair difference.
I think Europe height's 14, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe 14
Is that 14 in inches or?
inches, I think. Inches,
yeah, okay.
I think.
But the recommendations between here and here, depending on the breed. So, but our absolute minimum is 14. Most of us go with the 18-inch height for our breed to get up.
And Michael's done there. His looks smaller, but that's just because the way he has it set up, the height looks small, but that's just like it dips down and it dips up for that one opening.
The mom's on top today. Sometimes the mom.
We have considered doing the meat rabbits again with. Remember the breed name? It was a breed that I think they're silver foxes, maybe.
Oh yeah. Silver foxes are.
We do have a shed outside that they would be kept in, and we would build the cages with. I'm not sure the correct size and how it converts. Maybe I can follow one of you to get it sent. But if we do it again, we would rather do it with.
And I have a Discord too if you want to join. The code is in a pinned video on my page because I can't put it in my bio.
But if we do the meat rabbits again, that's fine. We have spoke about instead of buying more, to either breed one of our does that we have and use her kits maybe for meat. But we've still not thought about it fully yet, so we wouldn't just breed her and not have
I
it
would
do.
probably say no, because you typically don't want to breed an older doe for the first time, because once they're about like the latest you want to breed a doe for the first time is about like a year and a half. The system is going to be slowed down and not up, and then they can have problems.
Their pelvis is confused, and ideally you want to get them the first time when they're at weight, and that can be as early as 4 months.
Yeah, her pelvis is going to be much more ossified, and so it's going to be harder for her to birth kits as well.
Yeah.
But
I have a doe right now that I accidentally waited way too long to breed her because I wanted to get her on the show table. So now I have a doe that has like reserve and show wins, but she's now on try 4 and she's due tomorrow, and I don't think she took again.
For me, it's my does. I've got one who I've bred a couple times, and she just absolutely refuses to breed. And I think some of that might have to do with the fact that she's just not getting the weight. But I think it's more of a genetic issue than it is, like she's not getting enough nutrition, because she's not skinny, she's not like, it's just, she's not getting the weight.
Yeah.
She's a smaller rabbit.
How much is it your typical meat rabbits weigh? How does it just depend?
As an adult,
so it depends on which one you want. So with meat rabbits, you ideally shoot for 5 pounds at 8 weeks, 4.5 to 5 pounds at 8 weeks. And an adult meat rabbit should weigh anywhere between 10 and 14 pounds.
Ours are loads smaller, but then that we would probably get nothing if they even were to be considered meat rabbits when they're...
Yeah, like I raise standard Rex, and my 2 does are both over 9 pounds. The one doe who's not getting the weight is 7 pounds.
Yeah,
I'm actually having issues.
The 2 rabbits that I just processed for my dog food, the carcass weight was 4.5 pounds direct.
I'm actually having issues with my New Zealands right now because I have them hitting like 11.5 to 12.5, whereas the max is 11 for bucks and 12 for does. So like I almost am having issues with them being too big per the standard.
Yeah.
But
they're healthy weight.
Yeah, they're
You're
still
gonna have
healthy
to
and
breed-
very well
There's
conditioned.
different,
Smaller.
yeah. So that's
Breed back to your
just
smaller
like
animals.
so like because I have mini Rex and so they're a dwarf breed, and so ideally you want them to have like one dwarf gene, one normal gene. And so when you're breeding parents that have that, there's a 25% chance of what you'll get what's called a false dwarf, where they don't inherit a dwarf gene and they end up being bigger. So I have one that's like 6 pounds, but she's good weight for herself, but she's overweight by standard. No, it's a mini Rex.
It's a
Rex
tort
thing.
Rex.
Yeah,
Hello.
it's Rex of some sort.
No, I'm talking about Michael's bunny over
Yeah,
there.
no, I am talking about Michael's.
Oh, okay.
Graham Cracker is
A mixed
interesting.
mutt
He was
of
told
things.
it was a standard Rex. But I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like a mini Rex. John up in Washington has had his hands on him, and she's been like, that feels like a mini Rex.
Just a false dwarf.
Probably.
What did I weigh him at? I forget. You had
Like
me weigh
7
him.
pounds, but you said your scale was funky.
No, that's a Rex. That's a standard Rex. It's just
the head though.
undersized.
The head though. His scale is wonky though. It's not. He did like a human scale where he was holding it, and so.
Yeah, I didn't have a
We
correct scale. I actually have a better scale now. I could re-weigh him, but
Yes,
let me
go do
grab
that.
him and we can look at his face.
Mary,
Yeah, but
is that
he has
Peter
a mini
Gabriel?
Rex head.
Mary, is that Peter Gabriel?
No, these are my bratty girls. Peter's a sweet boy, but he's on the other side. And yeah, if she's sniffly, she's just treated. It's damp in here.
See, with the fur or the coat at the end of the process, what actually do you do with that? Because we had just, well, not thrown it away, but we just disposed of that after because we didn't really see a purpose of it.
So
The-
are you talking about the fur or the meat?
Like the fur.
The fur? Oh, it's very simple. Alum that you use for canning vegetables, and rock salt or canning salt. What you do is you're going to mix those equal parts, 50-50, in a bucket with warm water. You place the hide in that bucket and you let it sit in that solution, stirring it every once in a while for about 2 weeks to allow it to pickle it. And then you're going to take it out and wash it thoroughly with dish soap, and you're going to pull off all the fat and stuff from the hide. You let it dry and kind of break it stretch it as it dries. And you'll end up with a nice white hide. And the solution is biodegradable and safe, and you can actually use it to keep slugs out of your gardens.
Well, I never knew that, but that's something I'll keep in mind.
Yep. The solution that you use that's left over from that, it has no smell. It shouldn't have any smell. It should just smell like salt water. And you can use that, like I said, put it around the edges of your gardens and around your walking paths when it freezes in winter. It'll get rid of ice.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I do in the wintertime is do my pelts and my skins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's nicer to do it in the wintertime. And by spring, I have me a nice big bunch of pelts, and I can make blankets or knickknacks and all kinds of stuff with them.
So I've actually heard that tanning pelts butchering out rabbits and tanning pelts in the winter is better if you're using the pelts to make stuff because it makes them thicker.
It is, because the rabbit is going to have the thickest coat it has throughout the year, and it will you'll lose less hairs per follicle after butchering because the skin stays cool and cold.
That's
the
actually
reason when you have a fur coat, you store it in a freezer. You know, there's freezer locations to store fur coats, so that way there's less hairs falling out of the skin.
I had 2 pelt mutt does that stayed out in outdoor hutches, even with the polar vortex that we had. And obviously they were stuffed with hay, but they're doing, they have the best coats I have ever seen. And they're still extremely happy, and, they're doing really great.
Yeah, I know. The winter coat is the best. It's literally the best.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a shed as well, and we're clearing it out, and I think depending on how everything goes, we're going to move all of them outside now, because inside give them the room can be used for other stuff, and then they can have the shed. It's a bit smaller of a space, but it's still
What
similar
I
size.
personally do, if you're going to move them outside, okay, I would have either a concrete pad down, or if you're going to have them on dirt, go about 6 inches, dig out about 6 inches of dirt and put down wire.
Would a shed be all right if they're in the shed? That's where we're going to keep them.
If the shed
It's a
has
floor
concrete
shed.
floor.
Yeah, it's a hard floor shed with like this old mat.
Oh yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be fine. As
But
long
when-
as they have the wire nest box to get up off the floor.
Yeah,
And-
they have that.
But the thing is if you have them on dirt, they're going to dig out. So, and predators, foxes and badgers and stuff can dig under. So if they're going to have a dirt floor, then you have to make sure that it's protected.
But when they do go outside, I'll happily send you a photo or a video. I'll post one or put it on my wee TikTok story, and I'm happy to hear any criticism or anything that you have about it.
My one thing
Do you
is
ever have
that
any
a
questions?
switch, that could be one of those like changes that could cause fighting. So just
They have-
be very careful.
You're going to have to take them
watch
all
them a lot
together
more.
all at once. So put them all in like a laundry
The
basket.
carrier, yeah, they have a big enough carrier they can all fit in. Yeah.
Yeah, so put them all together at once and take them all as a group. Otherwise, you risk them fighting over territory because it's going to. The other thing you can do is take some of their litter and kind of scatter it on the floor. I know it's not. Scatter it on the floor, get their scent in there first. Then when you go to move them, dab each of their noses with a little bit of vanilla extract so that way it kind of overwhelms their sense of smell. Go ahead and move them as a group, put them all together in the room after you've cleaned it out, okay? And then by the time that they get their sense of smell starts not being overwhelmed by the vanilla, they've already been in the room a couple of days and they've had some time to, sort out the differences. Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to consider doing that. Would all their stuff be fine going in there, but would just disinfect it first, or would just leave it with their smells on it?
Yeah, leave the stuff with the smells on it. And take everything whole meal. Everything goes together.
Right, that's fine then.
So that way everything, goes and try to put it in a similar sort of layout as they have it in the other room.
Yeah, it's about the same size. The shed out there for them is 9 foot by 6 foot. The room in here is, I think it's about 10 foot by 8 foot. It's a smaller size, but it's quite similar.
Okay, so yeah, they should be all right. Just lay everything out the exact same way as you have it in the other room, and then take everybody together and, like I said, dab all their noses with some vanilla so that way they don't do that new room, new smell thing. Give them it gives them about 48 hours to, for their smells to commingle before they get their sense of smell back.
But yeah, we're going to try and look for a bit of a bigger wire nest boxes. We have litter boxes. We have 2 side by side, and I think just a bigger wire one, or we'll try make our own or something is be a bit better, bigger for them as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got a good idea, and you're doing well with them. So,
I didn't come on to obviously argue with you or hate on what you're doing because I do know they have been brought into humans originally for the meat and the fur. That's what they were originally here for. I've just kind of grew up raising them as pets. We've only ever had 3 that were for meat, and I had nothing to do with it. That was mainly just my dad's sort of thing he wanted to do. But we've raised the smaller
you don't have to raise them for pets, but it's my personal opinion. You don't breed solely for pets. You want to breed towards your standard. You want to breed for, a rabbit that is structurally and healthy, a sound animal all around. And part of that is excellent husbandry.
That's the issue with a lot of people who breed specifically for pets is they don't look for those good qualities. They just kind of breed them and they're like, well,
like if you want to just see an absolutely horrid example of a pet breed, look up rabbit pals.
There's hundreds in local shelters about here as well. There's so many of them. There's been videos I've also seen of people like quote unquote rescuing the meat rabbits and trying to like.
And here's my thing. They're talking about this overabundance of rabbits in the shelters, but to me, personally, I know this is a hot take. They shouldn't exist. They should be put to better use to feeding humans and animals, and saving that shelter space for animals that are adoptable and actual animals that can do well in a pet setting, versus animals that are disabled, ill.
Yeah,
suited
that's
to
like a
pet
whole other thing. It's just like so many disabled rabbits that really should just be put out of their misery.
Yeah, lingering them on like that to me is the height of
is when they have rabbits that are half paralyzed or severe cases that you see. That then they use. I've heard the horse rescuers are doing this too, and they use them to get donations. It's like, no, do the right thing, put it down.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that as well. I've seen people.
I posted a video. Sorry, you can go ahead.
No, it's fine. You can go. It's all right.
I posted a video just, I think it was last night. I took a screen recording of a rabbit that was in a wheelchair, and then I took a screen recording of a rabbit with head tilt. It was really, really bad. And like those two rabbits should definitely be put down.
I've seen a creator on here as well that has a rabbit that's neck's almost completely upside down, and I think that's completely wrong.
The main thing with head tilt is not the actual tilt itself. Yes, that has negative implication, but it's what is causing that tilt, and what is causing that head tilt is brain lesions.
Yeah, and you also have to think about the stress on the neck joints, the shoulder joints. You know,
so like
it's going to supercharge them getting arthritis and stuff.
Yeah, it's a big part, but it's just like it's not just what you're seeing. There's underlying issue other than just what's happening to their muscles.
A lot of people just don't understand that rabbits are able to hide pain. Like I'm a veterinary technician, and product veterinary technician. I have seen rabbits binky with limbs that are busted and stuff like that, and compound fractures and things like that. Rabbits can tolerate a lot of pain, and people don't understand that, and it breaks my heart because they think that they're fine and they're not fine. And you have to look at that animal and go, that has got to be excruciating. You have to make the call.
We did do that with she was 7. It was the first ones that we got as a trio. The first one passed away. We found it passed away. It was just getting old. And the second one we had put down because what had happened to her was temperature had dropped and she was lethargic. She wasn't eating, and she wasn't really eating as much. She was still getting a bit of food and water, but she was like reduced eating. And the vet said there was loads of treatment that we could do, and we didn't agree with it. So she was put down. She wasn't going to get better. It was just to manage the pain, and we decided to have her put down, as it wasn't right to keep her alive.
And that's the correct stance to have. Do what's best for the animal, not what you think.
So many people think that death is just this absolutely horrible thing, when in reality it's actually peaceful.
It's a release. Yeah. The one thing that I have a problem with is in the UK, the laws for putting rabbits down on farms are way behind measure. Y'all still require bludgeoning. And so to us, that's horrific, because here in the US, we do cervical dislocation, which is a certified humane form of on-farm culling.
With like the brush behind the neck.
Yeah.
Over here, it's completely different. Some people will take their hand and try and snap it. People will do. It's just so wrong.
Yeah, you can try and snap it if you need to, like nest box cull babies, because they're teeny tiny. But an adult, you do not have enough force to do that.
Videos that
you do not have the leverage.
There's been videos about here that I've seen as well of people trying to, and then the rabbit has the neck snap, but it's still alive and feeling the pain. It's not being killed properly.
Because true cervical dislocation, you're not just breaking their neck bone, you're also severing their spinal cord.
And you're also
Most of the time we do it most of the time we do it, we have like a full internal decapitation. So
Yeah.
within seconds, that rabbit is out.
I do CD and then decapitate because then there's no question.
Mm-hmm. Here it's completely different. Our rules are quite behind and not right, especially for how people house them. And obviously the cages you keep one in. Here people can bung like 5 in it. People do these colony setups as well, where they have like 5 and like a buck and like 4 does in this pen. I don't agree with that either. I agree with a lot of what you say as well. There's a tiny bit I don't agree with, and that's just my personal opinion. But I wouldn't obviously give hate to someone that's just providing food for either their family or just raising them as like a like to meet for whatever. But if I had any other questions, I would obviously ask again, and I'm taking your advice, and we're going to look for a better pellet. But I do want to say thank you anyways. But I'm going to head off now.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for coming on and being civil.
You're welcome. I wasn't going to hate. I do know I've like raised meat rabbits myself. I do know that they don't like. I've never ate it before. I do know people enjoy it, and that's just how they want to raise them.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have a good day.
You too. I'll see you all at a different time if I see you on live. But if I seen you on live again and I had a question, I would know to ask you. But I'll see you later.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
See, and that is how you have a civil debate. That is how you go back and forth and just discuss.
Discuss.
If only the whole world could be that way.
That'd be nice.
It would be.
You don't have to
like
report
we don't have to
for
agree on
absolutely
everything.
nothing.
It's okay if you don't agree on everything.
No.
That whole time I was outside torching cages and cleaning cages.
I've also been outside.
What is the cause of death for Tom's 2 kits?
So, okay. It's Clueless Bushcraft. Cassie's letter to, I think it was 2 days in a row. Was it 2 days in a row, Michael?
Ooh. I actually have a question after y'all get done.
He was caster kits. He went and did his daily checks, and they were cold and dead. And they're like 2 weeks old at this point.
2 weeks old, I would say they started nibbling mom's food and got weaning enteritis.
Okay.
So they start the weaning process.
They're not. They haven't really been starting to get out of the box though.
You probably won't get a lot of debate on my account though, because I've banned most of the people that have been stupid. So.
That's fair.
That which is probably the reason why you guys got hit so hard in the other accounts, is because I've already banned the people.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's quieter over here. So even if the babies are out of the box for not even 30 seconds, the first thing they're going to do is go look at food.
Oh yeah, there's also.
Did he open them up to look at the livers?
They have blood around. They have blood around their backside, and they were bloated. It's weaning enteritis.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Just straight up weaning.
Weaning enteritis. Gotcha.
Is it weaning enteritis or enteritis caused by coccidia?
No, it is. It's
if you
caused
open
by
the liver or not.
Clostridium bacterium. So what happens is the babies are transitioning from being able to digest milk to digest the proteins in the feed. Okay?
His one runt is still going somehow.
So they're trying to transition from drinking milk to eating food, and that sudden intake of that new protein hits them really, really hard, and so they get hammered with it. They get hammered with it really hard on those first few days. That's the reason the second they come out of the box, I provide hay, and because I nest in cotton balls, you get quite a bit of fiber from the cotton balls to begin with before they ever get out of the box.
That was kind of the theory, is that they were eating some of the cotton nesting material as well that may have caused some issues.
No, it's
No.
not the cotton that would have caused it, it's the food. So they get out and they're trying to transition to the food, and they have a
So yeah.
Clostridium bacterium bloom because of the new intake of solid feeds.
Mhm.
Because the cotton
Okay.
is nothing but
And
fiber.
I would. So yeah. So I'll tell him to pull calf manna from her too, because they don't need to be eating that.
They don't need to be eating calf manna. No.
So
Just
because
straight
they're old enough
HEB.
that she doesn't need the calf manna anymore, and just pellets and hay.
Just pellets and
I
hay.
did that too. As soon as mine started getting out of the box, I stopped feeding calf manna because I didn't want them eating it. Mom probably didn't eat it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. I do have a question for you, Domino and MMC. So I had a kit who, when it was born, it was looking great. It was pretty big. I mean, it was medium size. I had some really big ones. I had a runt, and then it was pretty medium size. But at 2 weeks old, it started like losing weight, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it just hasn't been eating. Maybe the siblings are, you know, not allowing it to eat because there's 10 of them. Um, so I was like, I flipped
No.
mom over.
You know what happens with those? Is they get when they start eating food because they're bigger, they're going to eat more of the food, and they can get the Clostridium infection instead of getting a runny butt. They have kidney failure, and so you see them waste out and die.
Good to know.
So they get a form of sepsis from the Clostridium instead of the runny butt. And,
Something else we were also thinking, because it was a broken to broken pairing, is if it is just like a failure to thrive or a complication from it being a Charlie.
it could be
Although
a
the other
megacolon.
Charlies in the litter seem to be acting fine.
It could have been a megacolon issue as well.
Yeah, that's what we were wondering. I came out yesterday, and because I had been flipping mom over and making sure that the kid was getting enough food. And sometimes it would eat, sometimes it wouldn't. But I came out yesterday or the day before yesterday, and the kit was on the floor dead, and mom had eaten the ear and part of the head off.
So when the kit was alive, did you notice that the ears were particularly sort of pink, or did it have a flushed appearance to it?
I don't believe so. I can look and see really quick, or I can send. I think I have a video of it. If you want me to send you a video of it.
Yeah, send it in the Discord and I'll look at it.
All right.
Because what happens with those is they get sepsis. So there's two forms of the enteritis: the sepsis, where you have a rupture inside the intestine, and so they go septic, or you have the type that inflames the intestine and they end up with your traditional diarrhea and bloat and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually your weaning enteritis that does that.
Okay, yeah. I would also, honestly, as a general rule, I would say probably pull calf manna at about a week and a half. Just preemptively,
Yeah,
so that
the corn is really not good for
do
babies.
it before, yeah, like just do it before babies even start coming out.
Hey, Cadence.
Hmm.
So I deleted the video, but I know that I had sent it into the Discord. Do you know which one it was in? Like which was it in general?
Was it in
Did
general
you-
or was it in medical?
You might have sent it to the Instagram group.
I'm gonna go look. Hold on.
Let me screenshot this and show you guys our IG
Hey, y'all,
backgrounds.
I hate to
It's
do this, but
hilarious.
I gotta pop out of here for a little bit. My sister's calling.
Okay. See you in a minute. But yeah, but it's just our IG background is funny. I just did Demon Bunny in its AI. Hilarious.
It's not gonna help me dump cans. I got one row done by myself.
Oh, nice.
I got 20 bags to fill with poop, and no helpers.
Yeah.
I got 2 hours to kill before I can milk goats.
Okay, I found the videos. I'm gonna send them into the general again.
Okay. Or send it into media, because technically that's what media is for.
Okay, I'll send it into media then. I was gonna say, so if it was a type of sepsis, like it would have been weaning enteritis.
I think so. Domino left because she had to go, but I would assume so.
Anyway, it is.
It's a plausible option. We'll say that.
So how would that have worked though? Like, I mean, because I
You
thought
just
it was only caused by like when so like she was saying is you give them hay so that it's not as tough on their system when they eat food.
Plus as, but it doesn't necessarily 100% prevent it. They can still get bacteria overload even with hay.
Yeah. What I like to equate hay to is it's like giving a dog chicken and rice.
Yeah.
It's a bland diet to go easy on their stomachs. It's not going to fix or cure anything, but it's just a bland diet.
Right. Okay, it's on it. It's on. I was gonna lay down. No. No. My turn. That's not very nice. I'm chilly and I got 2 hours to kill.
Because you know, whenever it was born, it seemed really good, and it was eating really well. It had a nice full stomach. At a week old, it started going downhill, and then
that could be either a failure to thrive or the megacolon.
That sounds like failure to thrive too. Is it broke? Although honestly, broken and Charlie don't mean that they can't get it, you know, or have. It's just you have a highest probability with Charlies. You still have a higher probability with Brokens. I got one right now who I'm kind of on the fence if she is megacolon, I might have to just cull her. And she's not a Charlie. She's a very heavy bandit. But she's also been having poops. And sometimes you give her a little extra hay, extra fiber, they go back down. So I'm trying to figure out, is this a actual megacolon issue, or is there some kind of bacterial or inflammation going on? You know, so yeah.
I had a rabbit who looked broken, but bred to a broken. She had an entire litter of just Charlies. So I'm pretty certain that she is genetically a Charlie. She just didn't show it.
Well, that doesn't mean she's genetically Charlie.
Yeah,
just
the only real way to test that is breed it to a solid and see how many. If it's like almost all, if it's like literally all broken, then I would say yes.
Yeah, it's basically that entire litter was culled out at 8 weeks old. I've never had a litter have that much megacolon. Most of my megacolon kits are totally fine to like 11, 12 to butcher weight.
Yeah.
But like her entire litter had megacolon and were terminal by like 8 weeks old. So I called her out as well. She was also extremely aggressive, and I was just not dealing with her.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they can still have megacolon and be a higher level carrier and not be a Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what just like I have a couple that are lightly marked brokens because but they're not Charlies. So you can have the false Charlies too, but again, it doesn't mean
even if they have two broken parents, you don't know if they're actually Charlies until you breed them.
Yep. Yeah. So because there's two different factors that play into that. So you can look like a Charlie, not be a Charlie, and it may or may not have megacolon, or it could have megacolon, which is going to give you a higher percentage. It's going to pass that on. So if that mutation is already present, or there's going to be an even higher probability. So there's a lot to it. And then there's also a chance that it may not have the genetic mutation, but it might be susceptible to something else. So with her, I'm debating. We'll see what happens. I may breed her back to a solid and just watch the kits. It just depends on how she develops and if she gets better. If she doesn't get better, then it's because we had that with Guadalupe. Or Guadalupe was fine and didn't show any signs of anything similar to that until she was like almost 2 years old.
See, what I was kind of wondering with my doe is I've been told by a few people that if a doe knows that a kit's not gonna make it, she'll actually unalive it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I was wondering, because I don't know if it died and then she ate it, or if she's actually the one who unalived it. But that's kind of what I was wondering. I was really just trying to see, like, one, what it might have been, and then two, if that's something that, like, y'all would hold against a mom, or no?
No, I would not.
No.
Hold that
I think
against
because
a mom.
the kit was already presenting like concerning behavior, I wouldn't blame it on her, unless you obviously saw her like kill it. But even then,
honestly,
like,
even then,
if the behavior is already a failure, or if it's already a failure to thrive, then it's just their natural instinct.
Yep.
Or two, like even if you can't tell if it's a failure to thrive or not, or you don't know exactly, you note it down and like have it as like a maybe strike, and then if she keeps doing it, then you hold it against her.
Yeah, then it is a strike.
We have some.
But if it's like
we have some Nethy
thing,
does. We have some Netherlandorf does that will kill their Charlie kits, but it's not. It's obviously we're out there immediately anyways to dispatch any Charlies, so we really don't like hold it against them because any of the normal kits are totally fine.
Yeah. No, it was so strange to me how, because I show in the video as well, like, the size difference between the runt and that kit, who, when it was born, it was, like, completely normal. And up until a week old, it was completely normal. It was growing great, nice, fat, full bellies, and then it just, at a week old, went way downhill.
What was probably is the cecum was unable to develop correctly because by the time they hit like a week to 2 weeks old, that's when they start that weaning process. That's the first part of it. So that they'll be eating. They may be nibbling on pellets or doing something else similar, and their digestive tract changes from
mom secos too. Because when did they start eating mom secos?
Probably around 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just may not have been able to handle the initial feed change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at the mom. I definitely am not, because I was really kind of thinking that I was going to end up having to cull the kit anyways, but I wanted to give it seemed really full of life, so I was like, I don't want to cull it and it end up being fine, so I wanted to give it a chance.
And that's fair. Like with with Tom's run, I'm sort of very much like, if that were me, I would have called that already, but I'm like, I'll let him make his own decisions, because I don't want to be too pushy.
Oh, I haven't even seen his run.
It's not doing terribly. It's getting better, but it's just like
SO9 had a
I'm still
run
not
in
super
her litter.
confident.
SO9 had a run in her litter that was, I was really concerned and was going to cull it because it was like half the size, but she was amazing at making sure it was fed. So it was about a pound lighter than I like, but it made it basically to butcher weight. And she kept it fed the entire time. I didn't have to force feed it once. Like,
Her mother was really, really good about that too. Like, so
Yeah.
it's not like you keep an entire litter of like 10 fed with no issues. She was very attentive mom.
yeah.
Which a reason why that's SO number 9.
Yeah.
That's my doe Eris. She's been great about it. She had a litter of 11, and I never saw any of those kits without a full belly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I really want to keep a doe back from her so bad. Because I'm gonna retire her out because
Yeah.
she has the worst type I've ever seen ever. But
Yeah, too, with yours, just as a general, trying to think. Trying to think.
What's this button do?
Brain. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, what's this? Can I change it?
I have no idea.
I got a fun little message.
Can you help me get to 10K?
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can like put my own messages in there. It doesn't look like I can.
Does anybody want a free goat buck? I am going insane.
What breed is it?
He's an alpine.
Okay, is he from good line?
I forgot what lines he's from. He's not papered though. He is not staying in our fence right now, and I'm about ready to eat him.
Think of his mother? How's her udder look? What color alpine is it? Is it a black
He's a Coe Blanc.
Okay, so that's the
black and white.
The black and white. All right. Has he wide? What does he look like? He's pretty. We also have an alpine bug. He's a pain in the ass. Who's about ready to not be here? I bet he's his brother. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, probably wouldn't be. Did he come from Tammy?
I don't remember exactly what lines he's from. It was somebody who was selling out, and then the breeder that I got him from basically just got like 2 or 3 kids that they just bought like as is without papers. But he's kind of being he's kind of being a dick right now.
They do that. They definitely do that. That's what I'm out here. You hear me outside. They're all screaming at me because they all want to eat. Because Sarah's supposed to be here to feed them. I don't know if she's coming tonight. We fed him this morning, and then the only reason I'm hanging out right now is because he asked me to milk around 7. Then he said he'd buy us dinner, so I have to kill a couple hours. And then go milk these girls. But I need, if I could get if Kranitz would lend me a hand, I have another 4 rows of trays that need dumped and shit that needs bagged.
What is the best milk goat to get?
And that is a very loaded question because everyone's going to give you a different answer. My personal answer
is a Saanen.
Saanens. I loved my Saanens, but
I only know like 2 goat breeds.
I've only had one Saanen doe, and I loved her so much.
The only 3 goat breeds I'm aware of are Nigerian dwarves, Nubians, and Angora goats. Those are the only
everyone
breeds
around me when
I do like my alpines though.
Everyone around me, when I ask them what breed of milk goat is the best, they always say Nubian.
Okay, this is the thing. Number 1, hate Nubian. They drive me up a wall. But
I hate their temperament so much.
But they do have a highest butterfat content. So if you want, it depends on what you want to do with the milk.
And Nubians are also a more dual purpose.
Yes, I was going to get Nubian is dual purpose breed because you can also cross them with Boer goats and you can end up getting like more of a meat kids out of them a lot easier. But they scream constantly.
Yeah.
They're obnoxious.
Their temperaments suck.
The goat channel that I watch is on YouTube is Wiedemann Reek, and they have one Nubian, but they mainly have Nigerian dwarfs. But said Nubian at one point escaped with the buck and had a child. Her name was Stella, and she was a screamer. She screamed every single time, so that's why they got rid of her.
See, they have their, like, and then, she's like 12, 13 years old right now.
Yeah, Luna's
older. People that will swear by the Nigerian dwarf. I don't find them to be useful because, I mean, you're only going to be milking out a teeny tiny bit. But there's some people that are smaller homesteads that only need a half a gallon of milk.
Exactly. So like, if it's
and
like,
they
if
do
that works
have
for you.
Yeah, and they do have a higher butterfat content. So if you have a herd of 20 of them in a milk machine, it might not matter. But it's just for me, I like a big goat.
I've
my hands around those teeth. So.
I've personally never eaten goat meat. I have no idea what it tastes like. But if I ever got goats, which I definitely want to get goats one day, I would want like mostly for milk, but I wouldn't mind having them as meat as well. Like
that's what we do. We have Alpines, which are a dairy breed, but I'm not going to be messing around trying to sell extra bucklings when, like, nobody wants them. So they just go in the freezer.
Yeah, fatten them up, stick them in there. My second favorite dairy goat, honestly, right now, is probably the La Manchas. I didn't think it would be, but they have the best temperaments of any of them that I've ever met.
My grandma has La Manchas, and hers are insane.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the lines then. Ours, a lot of ours are
also, yeah. So her lines are not. They're not pedigreed. They're just random backyard.
Yeah.
Whatever.
These have been pretty sweet girls for the most part. Although apparently we do have one slightly crazy one because Leah did catch her yesterday. But the one that we got, I think Tammy had her, or Tammy ended up with her. That she came down. She's a big dog. And I love that black and white one. I can send you pictures. I took pictures of her yesterday because he's selling 2 of them to a 4-H family, offering them up just to see if they're available. She's beautiful. And then so here on this farm we have Sonnens, Sables, Alpines, and La Manchas and Oberhoffers. So we have 5 breeds here.
Our Alpines are super sweet. All of our does were bottle babies though, and it shows. And I hate that, but I would trade the Alpines for Sonnens and Sables in like a heartbeat. Yeah. I loved my Alpine or my Sonnen doe.
I think I'm gonna have to flip my nest box here soon.
Yeah, if I ever got goats, I'd personally get Nigerians just because I fallen in love with them watching Wiedemann Reek since I was a kid. I've literally been like, at one point, it's just like, I want to move to Arizona because I want a willow baby.
I feel like how popular Nigerian dwarfs are getting is not a good thing. No. Because there are so many pet breeders that are just like, oh, it's small, it's a Nigerian dwarf, and it's like, no, that's a pig needs something.
But I would definitely go make sure I get from like honestly,
like Wiedemann Reek, where they're actually breeding quality and showing and like
yeah, because I remember back when I first started watching them, they didn't show it all or anything because they're just like, we're just doing it for the milk. But I loved seeing their progress where they started learning more and being like, oh, okay, there is a purpose to show. There's more to this, and so it's just like, So it's cool to see that.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a reason to breed a better animal too, which is why if you're gonna get into even rabbits, and I'm not saying don't professionally show all the time, but at least try to hit 2 or 3 shows a year.
Yeah, because I understand people can't hit that many shows a year because one, there just may not be that many.
And that's expensive.
Depending on where you are, and it's expensive. Because like me,
at this point,
I have so many shows around me. There's literally one today.
At this point, we mainly just do county fair with the goats. but it's like, because we only have 3 does and a buck, but we still show at county fair, and we still, like, they're still all properly structured. They have functional udders.
Do at least one open if you can, because the county fair typically what you're competing against at the county fair, it's not a good representation.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Versus the open shows, then you have to actually.
For our rabbits, our county fair is actually interesting. Is our county fair does an open show for the rabbits, and it's nice.
We do the same thing.
Last year we had Doug as a judge, and we love Doug. Doug King. We love Doug for the mini Rex because he's done mini Rex. I used to hate Doug as a child. I did not like him. But that's just because I thought he was a little hard on the children. I'm just like, can you let the 5 single white hairs just go as a child? I'm a child.
I'm also apparently a child of Blue Fur because I am totally like, nope, this is the fact. I'm not trying to be mean, but
yeah,
we had
growing up.
We had
I
the issue
it more now, but it was just when I was a child. I'm like, but.
But no, our county fair used to be a lot of like weird mutt rabbits and stuff.
Turkeys.
But then my aunt took it over. My aunt took it over. And now our county fair is like really competitive. Like this year our top showmanship scores were like there were multiple 99s and a couple of 98s.
Nice.
Like across all of the divisions.
The kids up here need a lot of help with showmanship. Like, I mean, they need a lot of help with rabbits.
I never did showmanship. Or, like, I tried it once, but I
see, the way that my county runs it is
bad stage fright, so the one time I tried it, I cried.
The way my county runs it is you have to do showmanship. It's like the baseline. If you want to do market or breed classes, you have to do showmanship.
That's the way it was where I came from, too.
Yeah.
Just roads. I did showmanship with horses once, but that was fine. It's honestly just the speaking bit. It was the speaking bit.
That's
because like I started out fine, but I just like forgot one thing. Just like the way my brain works is that if I forget one thing,
you forget everything.
No, I knew what was next, but because I didn't get that one thing, I couldn't proceed.
Yeah.
And so I just
No, that's why my issue is like this year I'm doing rabbit, KV, cat, alpaca, sheep, goat, and pig.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's the issue with I have to do showmanship for every species. I can't just do a market pig.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious how my fair is going to go this year because we have a poultry ban because bird flu.
Yeah, we're still waiting. Michigan legislation is there has to be 60 days before the fair. If there's a case within 60 days, then we're not going to have any. I'm concerned with the cases in cow milk. I'm concerned that they're going to crack down on our dairy goats and on having lactating animals there.
Yeah.
No, you have a nice clean
that's
cage.
all of my goats.
Can I just say, I absolutely love the torch. Love it.
Yeah, blow torches are great.
It's so helpful.
It's great, and the money amount is nowhere near the cost of that.
It took me like half the time it normally takes me to clean my cages with that torch.
Yeah, it was a lifesaver when we had an entire barn of Jersey Woolies.
Oh man. I really needed it more for my Holland lot because he sheds literally 24/7, but it's still good for like my Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Because even they get fur stuck on their cages sometimes. Oh, are you carrying around your new toy?
Y'all want to know what I'm just doing while I'm sitting here? I'm just crocheting. Here, let me show the Discord. I'll show in the Discord what I'm working on.
I'm trying to buck-proof this pen and it's not going to work. I think the only buck-proof pen is the freezer.
The freezer.
My RAM doesn't jump the fence. He's well behaved.
He's also in the freezer?
He's not in the freezer. He's currently screaming because his friend just ran away, but
No.
friend is not the right word.
You're invited
but
to create.
Oh. The background.
Science
Did you see
care...
the background that I have on Discord? That I put on Discord? I love it.
No. Science-based care for cavies is, like, extremely hard to find. Just because they're not a commonly kept livestock animal. They're just in the pet trade. So, like, I think there are some German-based studies, but they're debatable. Like, they're not the most credible.
Is that a sheep or a goat in the background?
That was a sheep.
Like an Icelandic. He sounds like one of the Icelandic boys.
That's he's a Hamp Dorset cross, just commercial meat. He's upset because his fence buddy left.
No,
I'm
sir.
gonna try.
Let's see where this goes.
Y'all, I'm pretty sure I'm culling out my buck tomorrow.
That really sucks.
Oh, Domino's back.
Liz,
Domino.
if you're over
Yay.
18, you can jump in. But...
Next.
No, it's no more because he's got a history in exotic.
Kaden, someone's wondering about KB Care.
Yeah. So trying to find stuff that's science-backed is extremely difficult. I don't even know if there are any, like, content creators that have, besides pet people.
Which are never
like, it's just
guidelines.
Yeah.
It's such a, like, niche thing
Well,
that barely exists.
Has KB Care in both the Standard of Perfection and on the website. And that's
They do, yeah.
KB Care is also in
So
the,
there's American
Rabbits and
Cavy
Babies
Breeders. The
Yeah,
American
the
Cavy
book.
Breeders Association.
The
Ours
Raising
does
Better
well a
Rabbits and
little bit.
Babies book also has good information.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really not the easiest to find stuff on KVs.
And if you want a wool weather, I need to rehome him.
Domino, if you want to see
I have meat
those
sheep.
videos, I posted them in the media on the Discord.
In the media on the Discord?
Yes.
Hold on, I'll go look at it real quick.
But he's a wool sheep, but he's just a wool weather.
Yeah. No, I have meat sheep.
Okay. I need to find someone who just wants to just have
Yeah.
Just that might want to spin or needle felt or.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any friends left.
I tried fiber arts when we had the alpacas, but I'm just not. It's not.
I like crochet. I have so many. I have like.
You can even send me his wool tape.
I have too many. I have like. How many Wibbles kits do I have that aren't finished? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have like 20 to 30 Wibbles kits that I've not done. And that's not including the advent calendar that I still haven't finished. And then I have more coming as a birthday, as a Valentine's present from my mom that I know about now because my dad spoiled it and showed them to me when he wasn't supposed to because mom wasn't home.
Yay.
That is just a traditional failure to thrive. So that's just a straight up FTV.
Okay.
That sucks, but you know.
So it probably had some sort of internal anomaly that didn't show up until it began eating food.
But yeah, even if it was the dough that killed it, I really wouldn't count it against the dough.
No.
Yeah.
No, this just goes straight up FTV. Don't worry about it. You're going to have those occasionally. They have internal anomalies. Usually their intestines aren't formed right, or there's an organ that's not quite formed right. They usually have some sort of internal, missing something. So they start to fade after they are weaning off the milk sort of time.
Now I'm wondering if maybe that one peanut it had lived till like 4 weeks was actually a true peanut. Who knows? This was back before.
If it lives till 4 weeks of age, that's just an FTV. That is not a peanut.
Okay. Yeah. Because it was tiny.
It's just a runt, an FTV runt that made it long. Because your peanuts are not going to make it past, I'd say, a week at max.
Yeah. I've had them live till like 2, other than that one time. Like, not well, because this was before my mom let me cull them. She's letting me cull them now.
They normally don't have fully, like, developed digestive systems.
And
yeah, they have blind alleys.
Issues.
Yeah, they have blind alleys and stuff in their digestive system, so they just sort of fade out.
My mom, just from the start, she was just the kind of person that's just like, oh, let it die on its own.
No.
I'm glad when I was younger.
Started letting me.
When I was younger and we had jerseys, my mom would always be the first one out to the litters, and she would just cull them and not, like, mention it.
Like I said, the only reason why I didn't nest box cull that one is because it seemed like it wanted to live. Like, it seemed like he was
trying.
Yeah, like he was trying. Yeah. So I didn't want to, like, cull him if there was a chance. Hello.
Turkey.
If there was a chance that. Come on, Smudge. If there was a chance that he would survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're still here, Cadence.
I don't know how I'm still awake.
She's tired. She's very tired.
How long have you been awake?
I slept about 2 hours, and then I got up at 8 and had a nutrition and like clinic thing for county fair. So I was at that until noon around a bunch of people, and I've just been awake. I've been outside basically since I got home.
You need to get
I think it's just the cold and fighting with this stupid goat.
Goat.
I'm awake out of spite. I feel like I've asked this before, but I'm gonna ask again. At what age do you flip the nest box?
When they start popping
whenever
out.
they start hopping around.
Okay, these guys are 2 weeks old and they're hopping in and out of the nest box like crazy.
Yep, flip it.
Yeah.
It's like they pretty much pick the time. You just flip it so that it's easier for them to get back in.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think I'm gonna flip it because they are just jumping in and out as they please.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is it, Nix? You ready to have babies running around the cage with you? I mean, you already do, but now they're gonna have, like, free access to run around the cage with you and annoy you.
And how this works? What is this? No? I guess we have to ask the question. Well, that's not cool.
Yeah, the polls, it's always just like you ask it out loud and then it's just like, do the smiley face for this and the crying face for this.
It's weird.
I really wish I could turn on my screen right now because she is just loving the head scratchies.
Dang glass bunny background, yay!
Ah! No, I want to.
Oh no! Where'd it go?
No! You messed it up!
Stained glass bunny.
I'm sorry! They were so pretty! I'm saw it for like 2 seconds and then the wrong thing came up at the wrong time. No. Oh. Why can't I turn your camera on, or can you just not turn your camera on?
When I try it, it says I have to be given access.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it has to do with its access from TikTok based off followers, that's why.
Oh, maybe.
No, dang it. That was so pretty.
I can turn on my camera.
Can I? Hi,
Yeah, you have enough followers for that. I don't.
Why is my camera on? Hello. I'm gonna go check my goats. Because goats are weird.
No, I didn't want to turn mine on.
I have a very angry ram. Very big mad.
Oh, it's a Hampshire. Look at the Hampshire.
He's mostly Hampshire. He's a little bit of Dorset. Oh my god.
Hi, baby. He's a fluffy boy. Look at how
he's. Oh no! Get down off the fence. He's a big baby.
I did rabbit with
baby
background. Was the prompt I put in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't you, sir.
It's Fletcher's turn to put one in if
Don't bite me.
It was
yes, bite.
The issue is that he was a spoiled show ram, so now we're learning about the concept of personal space.
Oh, that's
and that we cannot be as big as we are and all up in my business.
Oh, it wouldn't let me generate it.
Oh, because I'm dumb. Because I'm looking at all the things. I've never actually played around with the live stuff.
It's so pretty.
Oh, you are the cutest little baby bunny ever.
My own kitty.
Oh, I'm gonna go check goats.
I know, y'all are just the cutest little things in the world. I think you
Yeah,
know
we've
you're the
managed to go
cutest
off
little
topic
things.
again.
Cute little baby bunnies. Cute
Okay,
little
what's your
baby
turn now?
I'm over here distracted.
Are you dropping children for me, please? Please, please.
Real.
That's where I'm at with my U. She was due 2 days ago. She started showing signs like 6 days ago. And she's like, no, not right now.
Look, it's like Annie.
No,
remember
that's what
Annie?
this doing.
Kitty asked Annie, like,
Yeah.
waxing for 2 weeks, and she goes over 340 days.
Well, it's like Mayu lost her mucus plug like 4 days ago. But she's, oh my gosh. They're not your babies. I'm sorry. I know. It's terrible news. I'm sorry.
What you nipping?
Storm. You idiot. The cat. Yeah, you tried to jump up there and you missed.
What you niffing, huh?
You missed jumping up on a chair.
You want your head scratched?
Oh, Mr. Kitty. I love my Mr. Kitty. Oh, Mr. Kitty.
Oh, big stretches. Big stretches. No more shakes.
And I'm finally doing better. Well, actually, like, so I had the flu.
You are standing in your water bowl
last weekend, and I was in the hospital 2 Fridays ago now, because I threw up from it. And just with all my stuff, if I throw up and go to the hospital, I probably would have been fine this time around, somehow.
If y'all need feed buckets and stuff, I highly suggest going to Chick's Celery because they're having like a major sale, and all of this stuff is on sale.
We have plenty of those.
Do you have an udder yet? Or are you just not going to show me?
Oh my god, that baby rabbit just scared the living hell out of me. I thought it was dead. but it was just
Sleeping on
sleeping
its
really
back?
hard. It was sleeping really, really good.
What you doing, Shaky?
I picked it up and it was just limp. I was like, oh god.
Oh, it went into that torpor sleep? Man, that's comfortable.
It scared me so bad.
Ferrets and rabbits and a couple other species will do that, where they'll go into that torpor sleep, and it's terrifying when they do it.
I had a guinea pig do that, where I fully
Ferrets aren't
picked her
even
up before
legal.
she woke up.
Ferrets aren't even legal where I live.
Oh.
California.
We have
You can't
have
ferrets in
but they're all
California?
from the same
No.
like.
It's illegal to own ferrets in California. It's also illegal to own hedgehogs.
Why?
Invasive species laws is my guess.
They aren't native to California.
I don't understand why it's still so normalized to just let pets out into the wild.
Yeah,
Me
why?
neither.
Why do people do that?
Like, what is the thought process behind that?
People are dumb.
It's not. If it's not my problem, then it'll sort itself out in nature, I guess.
Maybe.
People are dumb.
That too. People are just dumb sometimes.
Dum.
Hey, you stop that.
Let's go, I swear.
These guys are so much smaller
Are you
than
itchy?
whenever my last litter came out.
I need to take a nap. You know when that just like suddenly everything comes over you and it's like I'm physically exhausted.
Yeah.
That's going to be me as soon as this goat is contained.
Honestly, the ER trip last week, as soon as my bag of fluids was done, I'm like, can I get this out of my arm and go home, please? I don't care if I've decided something. I want to go home.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know how to decide anything. They're like, yeah, you could go, because I wasn't having my typical vomiting spouts. I vomited once from having the flu, and it's just that it didn't need to keep me to make sure I wasn't going to continue vomiting. So, hi Becky.
Hello. Someone had asked a question in your Discord earlier asking about I have these Rex rabbits and now they're like losing their fur. Why are they losing their fur? And I said this asterisk gene. I think Becky, you had one that did that and it was like all lush and beautiful when he was done.
Oh, Benji? Yeah, he had the asterisk gene.
What is that?
It's like a subcategory of, it's related to the Rex gene, and it makes their fur like
kind of a combination of a couple different genes. But yeah, but let Becky explain. It doesn't.
I don't even know if I can explain it well. He was born and it took him like 4 weeks to get any hair. He was bald for a very long time, but then he did develop into a very nice coat. He earned like 9 legs in his show career, and it's just funny looking back at his pictures because he was pretty ugly.
So Rex have a higher frequency of getting this combination that makes asterisks. Asterisks can present as a wavy coat. It could also present as a thicker coat. And one of the ways that, and also the balding gene. So it's like a combination of the balding and wavy and a few other things along with the thickness and density. So when you get this like perfect storm, you can either end up with like completely naked rabbits for a very long time, bald ones, or they go bald when they're getting into their adult molt. And then they will suddenly get this really super dense, thick, beautiful adult coat. Or they might get the wavy coat. And then they look kind of like asterisk cats.
Yeah, it would have like this waviness to it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it has a waviness to it. Wait a minute. We're getting up and we're getting down. Mary.
Oh? She's gonna keep doing that just to drive you nuts.
I know.
Is she stringing? Until she's stringing, I wouldn't.
This morning. She was stringing this morning, but she's not right now.
Show me her butt. Oh, baby bunnies.
It looks like a baboon.
Baby bunny.
It looks like a baboon.
I don't care about the baboon.
That's exactly what my sheep has been doing.
Yeah.
She's been up and down for days.
Okay. You 2-week-old baby bunnies, your nest box has been flipped because you won't stay in it.
They're just overachievers.
Well, you are fine, mamas.
You are going to drive me insane, Milkshake.
Look up. I'm going to put your box back. We have a show tomorrow.
That's fun.
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
Man. Where are you, if you don't mind me asking you, Becky?
I am in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, okay. Oh, I think I have a cousin out there that's a vet.
Is this the owner of the Benji?
Oh, yeah. Benji.
Yeah, the Benji boy. My baby boy. Oh. I love him so much. I'm the Benji fan club president.
Who's Benji?
There's Benji.
Pulling bags into his cage.
Oh, Benji boy. Hi, honey. You were best boy. He was born, he had fur, then he lost all of it because of the Astrax, went completely bald. Looked like an old Fu Manchu man.
Yeah.
So we called him Benjamin Button.
The Benji boy.
The Benji boy.
Because you have some.
Because he's aging in reverse.
Whatever I'm able to start my own herd, I honestly want some of your rabbits.
Oh, you would do wonderful with Becky's because she has just beautiful, outstanding height. And the Asterix gene in the proper context that Becky has there really dense coats.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is Benji's daughter. And you can even tell, even though she's a mom, she has such a nice coat.
Look at how deep she is, just sitting in the corner of the cage.
Yeah.
The depth, the width, the coat density. I'm always a fangirl when I see your mini rats. They're just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I over here occasionally get to compete with someone that we don't totally like. Starts with his first name starts with a J. His last name starts with a K. Both 3 letters.
Oh. I have one of his rabbits.
Yeah, she's like.
It
came down to
grow outs for
beat all of us.
Out of each other. Yeah.
It is.
So if the grow outs are picking on each other, you need to split them up. If they're starting to overgroom each other, just go ahead and split them up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini Rex are definitely super, super competitive.
Very. We finally, I think, at Hollister this year, we had over 100 again because we've not had that many recently. Mainly just because of just after COVID.
Yeah.
In our HDV, we didn't have as many because 2 people moved away, and so Diane went up to Oregon. Griffin's now in Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna go to the Nationals in Washington, but I'm getting a puppy, so I'm gonna.
My brother has baseball, so we're probably not going. And I'm just gosh dang it.
I would have to fly.
Are you getting a puppy? I love that you're getting another dog.
Yeah.
I want a
I know you're
puppy
still so heartbroken.
so bad because I want a service dog. I really think I would benefit from a service dog, but I'm I want a service dog.
I know I joked at work in our manager meeting. I'm like, so I can bring this dog to work, right? My boss is like, do not bring your dog to work. I mean, I I could easily hide it.
Yeah, but
I was gonna ask, because you had mentioned that your friend Teresa had a few Rex bucks. I was gonna ask where she is.
She's just north of Louisville.
She's just north of what?
Louisville.
I don't know if she still has them though, because
Kentucky.
her butcher day was Thursday.
Oh.
So, like I said, that was one of those. She doesn't keep stuff around too long. So I can ask her if she still has them, but her butcher day was Thursday.
Dang, she probably does not have them anymore.
It's possible. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask though.
Is it the Rex that I was looking at the other day?
Yeah, those two. I think she was keeping the one doe, and then there was the $2. And you know, I said, or she may have already sold them to a 4-H kid, but they were decent little, you know.
They were pretty. Yeah, they were pretty decent. They needed some coat improvement, but their structure wise, they were lovely. They nice width and depth and good shoulder.
Yeah, I'm still trying to. I don't know if I want to get another buck from the breeder I got my guy from,
Pluto.
or yeah, Pluto,
Pluto.
or because
we talked about this last night.
She said that she is gonna have some babies here soon that she's gonna look at, but
I don't know if I would want to risk having Pastorella again.
yeah, and like I know, like yes, like most rabbits carry it, but it was just like I don't know if I want to
even that again. Yeah, and he was expensive. He was $100, and that's a lot for
that's a lot of money to lose over a sick rabbit. Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm nervous about getting another one from her, and
because
now
that's just a lot of money too in general. Like that's on the high. Like we priced some of ours at like $100, but they're like if we're pricing them that high, they're that high because they have like a lot of like legs and such.
I think that definitely depends on the breed.
Yeah, but
like
standard
for a New Zealand is like $200 to $400.
Although still we had that like one auction at what show was it, Vallejo? And it was like we initially set like a minimum bid of like 40. No one was going for it, so we removed that. And the first bid was like $5, and we're like, absolutely not. So, but we kept watching. We watched it, and we made sure that we made sure she went to a good home, and she did. She went to someone that Diane, who's up in Oregon, knows and is a youth. So,
our 4-H youth show silent auction gets insane. Like we had. Not this year, but the year before, there was 3 white New Zealands that went for $500 each, and every single one of them had malocclusion. And it's like the person that donated them said that it was an injury, but I don't know why they still would have donated them.
Even if it was an injury, don't donate them.
Yeah. And it's like, that's obviously a management issue if it is an injury.
Well, and if it's that,
and especially to a youth show.
That's disgusting. I'm like, if you're gonna don't donate, and I think we've had people have issues like don't be donating your culls to an auction.
Yeah. Well, that's like we had a raffle at my club's first show, and I donated a rabbit to the raffle. And the only reason I did is because I did not want to cull him, but he just hadn't gotten any interest. And it's kind of funny because the youth that ended up with him keeps beating me on youth New Zealand tables. That buck has taken best opposite 3 times now over all of my animals.
We gotta figure out a rabbit to donate.
I made the wrong choice.
We gotta donate a rabbit next month.
Yeah, I've done that way too many times too, where it's like, I'm gonna sell this one, or this one's gonna do whatever, and then, and then you end up kicking yourself.
So my best doe my best doe I had sold as a fryer, and I immediately regretted the second she left my barn. I was like, I made a mistake. And I was so lucky that the buyer had donated it back to the kid after the auction. So then she gave that doe back to me. And it's like, you didn't have to do that. And that she's 8 months old and already has 5 legs.
Oh, wow.
So, like, to think that she was almost a terminal fire rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back up, Barry. Back up, little boy. Oh, you got all your bedding down here. Where's me? Good boy. Look at you being
you're not even gonna try to jump out of it while I'm standing here, are you?
Nope.
If you jump out of this, I'm just locking you in the stall for tonight. It's gonna be a tomorrow problem.
He's a good boy. Yes, you
Climb out of the stall. Goats find a way.
Yeah, he probably will. So the biggest issue, because obviously the does are already bred, so he needs to get out of that pasture because he's running them way too hard. And then I also have 2 hair sheep ewes that I just put out there that are open, and I don't want him tormenting.
Yeah, Melody.
What is y'all's opinion on people who keep, like, goats, their bucks with their does 24/7?
Depends.
It depends.
It's.
Yeah.
I think it's just
it could go either way.
Yeah. I don't really see a point, but also there are some people that have them like out on big, open ranges with very minimal contact.
Yeah.
Hello, sweetheart. Oh, she's like, oh, scratch my shoulders. Yes. Scratch my shoulders. Look at the twitching. Oh. That's oh, my baby girl. Oh, good look. She is very bred. Look at them babies. Wide load.
Very wide load. You know who, Cadence, you know who's just really wide load right now? Gracie.
Yeah.
You see that one video of Gracie? She's thick.
As long as she goes 2 term this time.
Yes, go to term, Gracie. Do not. She's
at
past
least to your safe
7
date.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Here you
even
go,
just
Grain.
past
Don't jump out.
310.
Yeah.
Past 310 would be great.
We don't need more 7s.
No, we do not.
Phil, get some supper goodies.
So I'm like speed running feeding because maybe if he has food, he's not gonna want to jump out.
That's this one right here. If he's not fed on time, he throws a literal temper tantrum.
Yeah. It's like I can feed, and by the time he's out of feed, it's gonna be dark and snowing, so hypothetically he'll go into the stall and be good, but he's also a goat, so he's not going to do that.
Real.
Did you guys want to see if you have access to your lives?
Sure.
Fixing the shutdown, Mary?
I'm tired. I have I'm gonna start prepping the goats to get them ready.
Yeah, if you want to see if it'll, and do like the new background, just because I think that one would be better, because it's just a picture of a rabbit.
Yeah, just a rabbit.
I mean, there's no, like I said, the reason you're safe here is because I've spent 4 years culling out
walking
exactly.
Yeah.
No, literally, I've spent 4 years pulling out the crazy people, so that you because I can already tell off the top of my head exactly who it is that's supporting.
You gotta pull through your viewers.
Yeah.
Ethical viewer management.
Can you do like on Twitch and like bring people over to the other live, or
Maybe. I
I'm not
honestly just
sure.
don't like Twitch.
no? I'm saying on here. Is there a way like if you start your live, can I push people over there?
Oh, maybe?
Like can we merge it?
I have no idea. You could maybe go live on both and just for people on Twitch be like, go to TikTok, go to TikTok.
No, I'm not talking about on Twitch. I'm just saying, can we do like on Twitch where we can raid people? Can I push everyone?
Yeah.
Oh,
On Twitch, you can
not
like raid other
Oh, gotcha. I don't
streams.
think so.
And instead of ending a stream, you literally just push everyone to someone else's stream.
I don't think so.
Okay. We used to do that all the time. So we used to just get like 50 or 60 or 100 people on the stream, and then we would still push them off to someone else's stream when we were done.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Chunky. Come here, honey. Yeah. Back up, Harry. Back up, sweet boy. Good boy. That's my gentleman. Very such a gentleman. Yes, he is.
Okay, so whoever needs to go live, why don't you go live and see if I can, because I can do the creators thing.
I'm gonna hop out for a minute and finish up my chores here.
Okay, Dakota, go ahead and see if you can.
See if I can go live.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if I can like make you a host or something, and then just. Or you, or maybe you make me a like, so you make me a host and suck everybody over there.
Well, I think if you do like the co-host thing, you can't do guests.
Well, yeah, but if I leave, then you lose the co-host, and then I think it opens it back up.
True.
All right, I'm gonna go see.
Okay, I'm gonna leave so I can see if I can then just watch it.
And then there were two.
That is all. And some KV?
Weak.
Oh, or not. They're not gonna scream.
Aww. Because you feed them like you're supposed to.
What if I do this? Oh, okay. It's nap time, apparently.
No, it's not. No weaking. What did it? Oh, you're weaking. You're curious, confused, weaking. What are you doing? I can't do KV. They're
so quiet. They're so fun.
That's just like Angoras and a couple other things. It's like I like when other people have them, but I can't do it.
Yeah. It's like the biggest difference for me is I had just pets. So it's like switching from, oh, well, this is my pet to, oh, well, this one is a cull and I can't keep that one. Like, I can't get attached to all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, the rumbles.
I'll see if they let her back in. Dakota. I want to invite Dakota. Guess will be disconnected. Well, but you're not giving me the option. Maybe you have to go off first. I'm going to boot you. It's not that I don't love you. I'm just gonna try this.
Yeah.
Okay. So we try that first. Okay. So I did that thing. I turned off my camera.
Sure. You're the co-host now.
Yep. Now co-host. Now what happens if I leave? So if you boot me as a co-host, can you boot me as a co-host, or are we the other way around? Do people stay with you? See, we're learning all these things. It's very important.
I can have multiple co-hosts.
Interesting. Well, how many co-hosts can you have?
It has a spot for 2 other people.
Okay, so I mean that's actually probably better for debates then, because it's not too over. If you could pick 2, or maybe 1 moderator and then 2 guests, might not be a bad format.
But
we're learning. We're learning. Yes, exactly. We're learning. So. Oh no, I pushed a button I probably shouldn't have. What happened? I'm not sure just what happened, and that was a problem.
I'm not sure what just happened either.
I think I pushed the wrong button. Well, I'm heading off anyway, so we're going to go ahead and test, and we'll test more of this tomorrow.
All right.
All right.